Side note, if you tell your kids to stay outside because mommy and daddy are recording a video and they don't need to interrupt, they'll repeat that to the other parents in the campground and they'll make their own assumptions about what we're recording.
Oh, really?
Whoops. All right, so Lindsay's getting some things set up behind me. We're going to kind of go over how we plan our routes. People have asked, how do you plan where you're going, when you're going there? We use RV Trip Wizard. Can't say that hardly. Um, it works better on a desktop, laptop, whatever than it does a phone. Whole lot more filters, whole lot more drop down menus, things you can do, and then it will still sync with your phone. You can do so much. I don't mess with it a whole lot. Lindsay's going to do some more explaining. Um, Now, I realized that this would be better if I screen recorded and then we just voiced over or whatever. My editing skills are getting better, but I'm not there yet. I don't really know how to keep the audio on me while a screen recording's in there. I'm still figuring that stuff out. So I'm going to take it off the tripod and just kind of record behind Lindsay as we explain what we do.
Okay, so this is my little work area that we made. But so it's called RV Trip Wizard, and we found it on another YouTuber. We,
Yep.
you and me.
Today is Sunday. It was
Oh,
you, me, and the RV, and now it's today is Sunday.
um, but they have a lot of good information, so check
Super,
them out.
super helpful channel.
Because we did a lot of research before we did this full time, so we watched other people. But she used this RV Trip Wizard, and when I looked into it, I really liked how it was set up. It's actually called, like, so when you go into it, you're gonna look at RV Life Pro is what it's under, but then underneath that on that website, it's called RV Trip Wizard. So how you do it is you can open a trip and you can create multiple trips. So say you wanted to do one for winter and one for summer. I have all of ours on one trip for right now. But it's neat if you do this multiple years so you can track it. So you can track like 2022 together. And then at the end of the year, you can see how much you spent. Because it also, you can put cost in there, fuel. So it's a really cool, it's got cool functions to it. So I just have ours under 2023 full time, but you can name it whatever you want to name it. You open trip. Okay. So it'll give you the map, and then there's filters and map settings up here, which will filter out things. And so I have, oh, well, you can take those off. But I have pets allowed because we have 2 dogs. Kid friendly because not every RV resort's kid friendly. There's some over 55. Um, there's some retirement. There's some class C only. I mean, there's different resorts out there. So I put kid friendly on there, and then I put full hookup on there because normally when we're looking for parks that are not like off-road parks, we're typically looking for full hookup spots. We will in between Boondock, which is a whole separate. we have Harvest Host and Boondockers Welcome, but that's a whole separate thing that you can look into um, in between. But when we need like full hookup stops to like dump our tanks and stuff like that, and so that's why I put the full hookup on there as a filter for ours. But there's different kinds. You can pick the park type, state parks, national parks, commercial and private. You can do it by park rating. There's just all kinds of hookups, amenities. If you have specific things you want, like restrooms, laundry, um, pricing. They do it by like dollar sign. I stay away from the 4 unless it's going to be like some sort of, splurge for us. I usually try to do the 1 and 2, occasionally a $3 sign, but um, and then you can put in your memberships. So we're memberships of Good Sam, which didn't cost very much for a yearly membership, and I've actually kind of gotten the reward back because a lot of campgrounds give you like a 10% off, or maybe one night off or something. Thousand Trails, that's something we don't do. If you're interested in that, you'll see a lot of stuff out about it to look into that.
Yeah, do your research really well
Yeah,
before you jump into that.
we felt that wasn't right for us, but it might be something that you are interested in. Passport America and KOAs. So um, you can kind of filter this out how you want it, and it's pretty neat. So then we go into this. So we'll go into like where we are now. But like you can put anything on there. So say you want to head. So we're gonna head to um, Utah. So you can type in Utah and search it by um, state. You can search it by like, where are we staying? Hurricane. I can't remember.
It's like Washington. It's around Hurricane.
Or if you know like the like Sand Hollow.
Yeah, like we knew
we wanted to stay near there, so you can look it up by that, and you just click on that, and it will send you over there. So the state park came up, and this is kind of how it looks. It rates it. Um, these will tell you what they are. So pets. This is a full hookup because of the bathroom.
I
Anyway.
want to say, ignore these numbers over here.
Oh yeah.
Those are not real numbers.
They're not right. You have to go in there and edit that. So anyway, but then if you pull this up, oh, went back on me. So if you pull this up, then you can go into park details, and it pulls up the overview. Most of them will have a website you can click on, which will take you directly to that website. So it's gonna, so these are all pictures taken by like campers, but
which is the first thing I do is go to the reviews.
Yeah. So I'll go to the reviews, and I usually check out the most recent ones because I don't want one from like a year ago.
And then, I don't let one bad review sway me.
No, I'll skim them, and then I go over here, and then you can click on this website right here, and most of the times they have one, even if it's a rudimentary website. Some places you can book online, some places you have to call. My internet doesn't, but anyway, it'll pop up the website, and then I go through and look through the campground rules, what they allow, if they truly are like kid friendly, what the rates are, which is like the number one thing that I look at. And if it's high, I'm like, no, we'll move on.
Some places will say kid friendly, but they have ways of pushing people with kids away.
And you'll see that in the reviews. So most of the time, there's multiple. This is not a short process, is what I'm trying to say. Like I spent hours.
Lindsay has so many hours.
Yeah, I spent hours on top of hours planning even the first part of our route. First off, because I was learning the process, and I needed to learn where to go and what reviews to read. And then there's a lot of things involved with it. You have to think about cost. You have to think about what you want in a campground where you're staying, how long you want to stay. Are you looking at monthly stays? Are you looking at weekly? And then on ours, we have the added, like, so we want to off-road on our trips. So we had to figure out well, I had to ask my husband what off-road parks he wanted to go to. I had to write those down. And then I kind of had to tailor my route to figure out, when to hit those, and how long to stay, and how much that was going to cost. And so that's that's an added thing that we have to deal with. But you might, you might have something, a hobby or something that you're building in, like hiking or certain places that you want to see. And so you kind of have to, like, I have a notebook. Where's my notebook? You see, it's got scribble stuff all over it.
And we
So
call these places and explain that we have a very large, flatbed truck and we have an off-road toy. I don't say rock crawler because not everybody knows what a rock crawler is, but almost everybody knows what a side by side is these days. And if you know nothing about rock crawling, you instantly just classify me as a side by side. So I just say off-road vehicle on the back, and they say, yeah, that's not a problem most of the time.
yeah, and there's other things, like, so I'll be like, this is, I have two monitors, thank goodness, for work. And then like over here I'll Google, you know, museums or things, fun things to do with kids in this state. And so then I have to write that down. I have to figure out our route. And so it's just, my whole point is, there's a lot involved in planning your route. It's more time consuming than I was prepared for, or, knew about. But
Yeah, the main thing is like I said earlier, I wanted to get back to Sand Hollow in Utah. I just couldn't wait. And this is the things that Lindsay's supposed to be telling you. But the in between, it was like, we know we want to go to Sand Hollow. We're going to take a month to get out there. What can we stop in between? So I don't know what to say.
well, you also have to think about weather. So he's talking about Sand Hollow in Utah, but we knew that we couldn't just like book it to Utah in the time of year that we were going to start, because it's going to be snowing. And we didn't want to be, I didn't want to be like covered in snow and dealing with all that. Philip doesn't either. And so we had to like reroute and kind of extend our time period. We wanted to stay south. And so there's all kinds of things that, the weather is something you need to consider. But yeah, right now, I have a period of time where I'm booking and trying to figure out where I want to go between North Carolina and Utah. But I have like a month, like 5 weeks. So
All my wheeling folks, I'm gonna hit you up because I want to hit Green Acres and Rugged Mountain Ranch,
yeah,
places like that.
if you have any suggestions on where we we need to stop between Oklahoma and Utah, that's kind of like where I'm at now, and I'm kind of like stuck, like, what's the best route to go, where should we hit in between those two states.
Yeah,
So
fellow wheeling friends, you got
yeah,
room for me? I'll roll in there and camp in your driveway. We got a generator
we
when the
have
wheels
done that
stop.
before.
Yeah,
Shout out to Curtis for letting us do that.
yeah. We'll crash at Cracker Barrels along
Yeah,
the way.
that's another thing I wanted to mention. I don't, let me grab my phone, I'll show you. I also wanted to mention, there's things you kind of pick up along the way if you talk to other full timers or YouTubers, and there's lots of like cool apps that you can use beside this RV Life Trip Wizard, which has an app, but it doesn't work as good as on the computer. But this is one that we figured out. It's called RV Parky, and like, so this is like St. Louis, and so like I'm gonna travel from here, maybe, here around here to St. Louis, and this will show like all the places that you can park and stay the night. It shows gas places. It will show you places where you can dump uh, your black tanks. So anyway, that's a pretty neat app to look up. There's also Harvest Host has an app in which we're, members of them, so you can boondock. Just trying to think of the other apps that we have kind of learned about along the way. I think those are the only ones that I wanted to mention. Well, Good Sam has an app if you're a member of them. But anyway, those are good things to have if you're on the way and you're like, hey, where can I stop to stay overnight? Cracker Barrels are usually one, Walmart's,
Home Depots.
Home Depots. I'm trying to think of the other places. Rest stops. Anyway, so there's resources like that if you get, on the way and think, oh no, I need to stop for the night. But this is the main way that I plan our trip. But just know going into this, when, if you're thinking about it, it takes a lot of time you need to book ahead of time. I called these places like 3 to 4 months in advance, and some of these places I barely got in. So especially if you're staying month-long stays, in the wintertime, a lot of these places open up monthly, and those go quickly because people want to save money in the wintertime and stay for longer periods of time. State parks are really hard to get into. Just know that beforehand, that you need to be booking ahead of time and you need to be doing your research, and just it's a lot of planning involved. Don't try to jump in your camper after selling your house and just go wherever, because you're gonna find some places, but you're gonna pay premium for them, and then you're gonna have a hard time keep going that way.
Yeah, we won't say it's impossible to just fully wing it. I think that could totally be
Yeah.
done, especially if you don't need a lot of amenities and you're open to a lot of different styles of camping and stuff. But what works for us, we need to plan ahead. It's not to say that that's the rule or you got to or won't
Oh
work.
no.
We're not claiming that, but
No, yeah, you if you've got solar and you've got generators and you're self sufficient, I mean, the sky's the limit out there about where you can stay for cheaper. And it's just the nature of what we have going on, that we have to have internet for me to work and stuff for the kids and stuff like that. That's just kind of how we do it.
so that's a brief description of how we make our routes and how we're figuring this whole thing out. Check out RV Trip Wizard, or what was it? Pro something.
RV Life Pro.
RV Life Pro / RV Trip Wizard. Google will point you in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
Check that out. It's a great resource. Watch,
Have a
watch.
map of the United
Yeah,
States.
Lindsay is geographically challenged.
I'm sorry to all my
So
elementary school teachers because
I'm
I did
like,
not learn it.
well, I'm like, we're gonna be in Utah, and she'd be like, well, can we just skip over to Montana real quick? And I'm like, no, no, it doesn't work like that. She's got to look at a map to see where that's at. But yeah, do your research. Check out other YouTube channels and just talk to people that are already doing this, and they'll share. We're very much rookies, and we're just simply sharing the journey along the way. So hope you enjoyed. Like and share and all that stuff.